Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Choujin X Chapter 27. When we last left our heroes, we opened with a bit of this vision of war that Queen had caused to the people of Yamato, provided by the memories of one of the other Choujin X's that little blurb in 24 told us about, Sora Siraha. So, you know, take it all with a grain of salt, given Yamato Mori's general shadiness, and the fact that Sora Siraha founded Yamato Mori and is provided to us by Sato, all very suspicious. But after that, there's a bit of a confrontation between Simon and Azuma about whether or not Azuma is fit to be a keeper as a result of his whole rampage during the last incident. And Sato interrupts all this to tell everyone, including Simon and Azuma and Tokio and Ellie and Momoma, that they're all going to a training camp on an island. They get to the island, they have some fun in the sun for a bit, and then it's time to get down to business. Each of them are focusing on different things. Sato has brought in a couple of advisors, named Shad Owl was one, which is just a great name. And the other, I'm going to see if I can find your name real fast. It was Hachimaki. Unfortunately, Chandra is also on his way to the island with a new ally named Yubiko, who has strangled a bunch of sailors and is still on their boat. And that's where we left off, so let's dive right on into Chapter 27, Branch Training. Our cover here is this really cool color shot of Chandra, Yubiko, and this science-looking guy who the next page tells us is named Hiroto Mori. I've had thoughts about, I'm looking at their shoes and the beard, and the shoes kind of look like a woman's heels, and given Ishida's sketchy representation of queer characters, I'm already a little nervous for him. Though, you know, this isn't like One Piece where everything pre-Yamato and Kiku, as far as queer characters are concerned, was definitively bad. You know, we can discuss how good a trans rep Mutsuki was, but it's still awkward. I don't know. I'm keeping my eye on Hiroto here. But also interesting is that their last name we see on the little blurb is Hiroto Mori, which, given the sort of role that the word Mori has in this series, in terms of the keeper organizations, is very interesting. It's just very interesting. But anyway, Hiroto's tapping away on their phone. At this very moment, I'm headed to a historically important island. How are you doing? And it's they're tweeting or texting or something, and Chandra just responds, "What kind of man taps away his time like that? Repulsive." We see Yubiko yawn. As they're all on their way to the Beast Island, "Chan-hun, tell me a funny story." And Chandra just turns to her, "What is this? A gathering of clowns? Hey, come on, are you listening?" And Chandra thinks, why hasn't the Noh Masked made an appearance? Which is interesting, especially now that we know, the Noh Masked official title, the pharmacist. Why is it that is it meant to be a sign of disrespect that Chandra does not call him by his code name, or does he not know it? Because there was some mention earlier there being a rivalry between the two of them, overrun by Chandra's desire for this beast hunt thing. But still, I don't know. Yubiko continues to sort of grind Chandra's gears. "Are you listening? Chan-hun, honey bun, hey ear hair." And he finally snaps and just throws some smoke at Yubiko, who barely dodges it. Whoa. And then I think we cut to Ellie here. Holy smokes, because that sounds like an Ellie line. And she has this new smoke attack, Poop de Loop, which is very, very teenager, I'll say that much. As Shad Owl and Simon watch, "Mr. Chardonnay, what do you think of my new move?" And Shad Owl will have none of it. "The indecency! And I'm no grape." I guess Chardonnay, I don't know. I can almost see the connection there. But Simon just scoffs idiot at Ellie. And Tokyo is trying his partial beastification. Arm beastification. Arm-only beastification. Unfortunately, he goes full beastification. As Hashimaki mocks him, "You were saying?" Looks like you need help distinguishing between body parts. This should make it explicitly clear what to beastify. And we see Maiko is, like, aghast at whatever's happening here. And we've kind of... This isn't quite the kind of schlockiness that, like, Ghoul was known for. But it's slightly, like, 5% reminiscent of that old symbol of Tokyo Ghoul schlock at its most extreme, the Nutcracker. Because we see Tokyo is, like, bound in, like, bondage whip things. Brambles, do the Bramble Choujin. See, the pain will guide you. And Tokyo just comments, I feel kind of fired up. And Hachimaki goes on, now partially beastify, you repulsive pig. Yeah, this is a fetish thing. This is a fetish thing. As Tokyo just tells her, okay. Beastification. And it's not quite clear what exactly happened. Kurahara, what did you just try to beastify? I'm hoping that wasn't a dick joke. But then we cut to Maiko's in the background just like lifting weights, being herself, and Sato is working with Azuma, trying to sort of get that sort of Choujin form controlled. As we see, Azuma's still, like, he's not in a full new outfit like he kind of was the first time he Choujinified, but his hair is still there. He's got the cloth covering his face and the shackles on his wrist. They're not bound to anything. Keep it controlled. Imagine a cup of water kept intact by surface tension. Now, these handcuffs. Can you make them into weapons? And Azuma questions, weapons? I'll try. And he thinks that he sort of like focuses on the cuffs. Weapons. What would work? Something that's a no-brainer. A blade. And he has this image of a knife. Then a knife. And we see... I had figured he'd make a weapon with like the chain part, but it's the actual shackle that's turning into a blade. And also, we're seeing some like spikes form on Azuma himself, stunning Sato. And then the blades break out all over his wrists as he like tries to like restrain himself. I'm sorry, I can't hold it back. And then Sato uses his technique on him, Psycho Share, and we see. He gives Azuma this image of him falling over a city to terrify him because, you know, Sato, that's his thing. Not quite as torturous as some of the other shit he's done, but still, I don't like this man. And Azuma full-on panics and is knocked out. Returned to normal, and Sato catches him. Okay, one more time. So here, I really do love, like, the body horror of like Azuma's transformation. There's a real creepy aspect there. I'm also really interested in there's that shot of Sato as he's transforming, just focusing on his eye. Like he's really shocked at what he's seeing. It doesn't look like, oh, my student messed up. Okay. That looks like genuine surprise? I don't know. And then we see Simon over there, like floating some swords around. While Ellie is behind him, smoking out of her behind, as Shadow Owl questions her, what's this one? Flew the poop. And then we see Tokyo doing like push-ups with Hachimaki on his back. 96, 97, 98. He's like out of breath. Hachimaki tells him, how are you going to protect your precious girl with those flimsy arms? 99, 100. Okay, 10 more sets. And in the background, we see Momoma lifting a giant boulder. 8,999, 9,000. Completely different leagues there. And then we see some more like shots of their training. As Azuma, I think he just grabbed a knife to like compare to his own. We see him like trying to form some like blades from the handcuffs. Sato at this point is relaxing. Tokyo is being bound by Hachimaki. As Momoa comments what I already said, this is just plain S&M. 'Cause yeah, it kinda is. And then we cut to Ellie relaxing in the bath. More Sato relaxing. This like skeleton in the background as everyone walks by it looks like. I don't know what's going on with that. And then it's the night. And we cut to 7 days later, as their training has gone on, and Tokyo perfects arm beastification, and it's just his right arm that is beastified. And Azuma, while fully like cloth wrapped, is able to produce knives from his shackles. So they're both progressing well, and Ellie is trying to get her shit-themed attack off the ground. Homing Poo and Shadow just stops her. There's other training in progress. And you can see like the sweat on his face. He's just tired of Ellie. And Maiko is lifting more boulders. That's a personal best. And Simon is manipulating all those blades. I've improved the speed and accuracy of my sword control. And Sato looks at them all, showing the results of their training. Okay, looks like pretty much everyone has gotten results from the training. And Tokyo just sort of, as they all listen to him, Tokyo kind of comments, I don't tire out as easily with partial beastification. And Azuma chimes in, I know, right? And Sato just hits them with, so, I'm headed home. And he just fucking leaves them all on the island. Good for him. No, not good for him. Fuck that guy. Like, I'm glad he's not here, but fuck that guy. And Tokyo just watches them go, you actually left. And Simon fills in, he's a busy person. But Ellie questions, you sure you didn't just get bored? But Hachimaki and Shadow are still there. As Hachimaki tells them, now all of you, we still have plenty of training to go. They've been here a week. Like, I guess it's summer break right now, so their schools wouldn't really be a problem, given that we know it's July. But, like, I don't know. Shouldn't their families be a little worried? They've been, like, I know there was a quick little line about Tokyo telling his dad and sister he'd be gone for a while. But how long did he say? I'm not quite sure. And Shadow chimes in, that's right, Eliota. I swear on my darkness, you'll never make another fecal-themed move again. He's just done. He is so fucking done. And Ellie responds, just, I can't think of anything else. And then Azuma thinks back to a conversation with Sato, it looks like. Azuma, is there anything you could do before that you can't do now post-awakening? That's likely the key to discovering the identity of your ability. Are we going to tie into the hyena scene? Because while I really like, I don't know if I brought this up in my 25 video, but while thinking about 24 for that like month and change we were off for, I spent a lot of time thinking about like the ways that I really liked how both Tokyo and Azuma are so heavily associate themselves with scavenger animals, because they both see themselves as like scavenging off the remains of the other's greatness. But while that worked thematically, once we got like sight of what Azuma's powers were, that kind of made less sense. Cloth and hyenas don't have a lot in common. But I don't know. We don't really get to see him think more about that. As we cut to a campfire that night, with they're like cooking fish. Shad Owl's got out his guitar, and Ellie just tells Tokyo, "Your new move's amazing, Tokyo." And Tokyo just tells her, "I got Her Majesty to thank for that." Her Majesty? Oh, that's Miss Roach's. Yeah, let's maybe drop that. Let's just drop that, please. And we see Hachimaki over there. I'm taken aback by how passionate all of you from Yamato are about training. I almost want to take you home with me to Nagamata. And Azuma just comments, I hope I can start using my Choujin powers soon to help people like you do. And Tokyo responds, me too. I'm hoping to become a keeper alongside Azuma. Which, going back to that sort of scavenger animal comparison, he sees himself as sort of second fiddle to Azuma. Much in the way that Azuma kind of sees himself as second fiddle to Tokyo, there's a lot of fucked up shit in their relationship that's utterly fascinating, and I really want to see it explored more. And Ellie gives them this little, like, sweet smile, I guess sort of, like, happy that, they've, like, found a calling, even if, I have my thoughts on their calling. And Ellie just burst out, as for me, I want to take out baddies and get paid, that's a vibe. And get a humongous house with a blonde hubby, and learn new moves, and Maiko cuts her off. I've always wanted to become a strong female keeper. just like Master Irma, which is a character we've not met yet, but I imagine she might become important later. And then we see Simon just brooding over there by the fire, and Ellie reaches out to him, and you, Kagemura? Why are you working as a keeper? And there's this silence that passes as Simon just tells them all, for my family, for revenge. He's going full on edgy boy here. That is some Sasuke shit. Absolutely some Sasuke shit. And he just gets up and walks away as Ellie watches what's gotten into him. He just up and left. And Maiko tells her, so about Simon. And Shadow Owl fills in, Simon Kagemura is a descendant of the Sword Choujin. And everyone watches as he explains, Loaned Sword. These designs impart abilities that can be passed down through generations as tattoos, etched on the skin of every generation in ink, blended with the family's blood. By continuously passing down the powers of their ancestors, the families of these abilities became stronger. Even among those who call themselves Sword Choujin, this ability is unique to the Kagemura family. Oh, so like the families is blended, the power is blended in with the tattoo design, and then when another Kagemura gets that design, they also get that power or something? That's an interesting ability, though it also leads to them having a bunch of powers, I'm guessing. During the war, under the command of Sora Siraha, that ability enabled the Kagemura family to be the strongest battalion at the time, and to stymie Guelta's advance on the 7 prefectures. And Ellie just comments that Kagemura is amazing. Shouldn't he be proud of that? He should. He comes from a line of heroes. However, that was also their downfall. And Hachimaki tells them, generations after the war, some people began targeting those who held such valuable powers. The hero hunters. It couldn't have been that long after the war. There haven't been that many generations. It was only like 70 years ago. But still, let's continue. Naturally, they targeted the Kagemura family as well. So, it is generations because it just happened, like 10 years ago or so, given Simon there. Simon Kagemura was one of the very few survivors. And we see they look sort of like, I'm trying to find the best way to describe them, and kind of, they're sort of like dressed in black, the white mask, kind of like mini No-Faces, though I imagine it's just like a disguise or something. And one of them looks down at Simon, absurd. You call yourselves heroes? Oh, that's some fucking, okay. So the man there, he's very, very buff, for one thing, holding a bunch of Kagemura heads, but he has 2 No Masks. Similar to the pharmacist, except the pharmacist only has 1 mask. I don't know, but I think it's a fair guess this is tied up with whatever the hell is going on with the pharmacist and Chandra and the tower and all that shit is tied in with this. And we just get this really, we're back on a really, really cool kind of horror imagery. As Simon is surrounded by images of the No Masks, all laughing at him. And Simon, in his panic, just screams and wakes up from a nightmare in his youth. And we cut back to the present as Simon has still walked away, has seemingly not come back from after he walked off from Ellie's questioning. But he sees Tokyo trying to generate wings. Wings! And he spouts a few feathers, and that's really it. Darn it! It's not enough! And Simon watches him, Kurohara. And he notices, Tokyo, as he turns to leave, Tokyo notices him. Kagemura? Taking a leak? And Simon plays that off. I'm not here to relieve myself. You can go ahead and pee. It's a weirdly bathroom-oriented chapter this time. Not sure what's going on in Ishida's mind right now. But Simon just snaps. Did you hear a word I said? And after that, they're sort of standing in silence, or Simon's silently sitting there, while Tokyo tries to manifest the wings. And still largely failing. It's getting a little bit better, but not by much. And Simon then calls out to Tokyo, based on my understanding of flight mechanics, you need quite a bit of muscle in order to produce those with Choujin power. How about you learn to fight before you attempt to fly? But Tokyo just tells him, I use this power to save a friend for the first time ever. That's sweet. You know, the reason he's so desperate for this power is because it was when it came out unwillingly that he was able to save Azuma. And he needs to, like, be able to produce it naturally. That's just some sweet little character work on their dynamic. And Tokyo then tells him, I know being able to defeat enemies is important too, but I also need this. And I'm going to take a moment to talk more about Tokyo and Yamato Mori by means of Simon. Because Simon is very much the sort of, like, you know, he's very defensive of the concept of a keeper. We saw that in 16 Part 1, when he was like, yeah, you know, when he passes judgment on Azuma, that he's not worthy of being a keeper. And I feel like this sort of conflict with him and Tokyo is, in a sense, the sort of conflict I've been spotting the entire series between Tokyo and the notion of being a keeper. Keepers fight bad guys. You know, they're superheroes, for lack of a better term. And Tokyo is not really focused on fighting bad guys. He's interested in not just maybe not just even saving people, but saving his friends as he needs to. That's what he's worried about. Which is not the very super heroic standard, I guess. Or maybe, like, that's sort of what Ishida's getting at here. I don't know. Well, it's one of those things we're just going to continue to see how exactly Ishida's building these themes. But Simon just walks away, not really willing to confront Tokyo's beliefs. I see. And Tokyo calls out, see you tomorrow. And then we see something. I'm not quite sure what that is. And it's this, like, I'm not sure what that's meant to be. Like a spiky little oval? It looks like Simon's generating it with his powers, but I'm not sure what it is. I'll give you some pointers. First, remember to hydrate. It's a coconut? Is Simon able to create coconuts? I'm not quite sure. Maybe that's part of the lone sword thing. Someone was a coconut Choujin. I don't know. And we see a quick glimpse in the girls' room. Ellie is, like, lying perpendicular over Maiko, dreaming. Oh, Mr. Sandek, you shouldn't. All right, okay. But we see Azuma jumping off a cliff because he's got some issues to work through, into the water, as he thinks, is there anything you could do before that you can't do now, post-awakening? And he thinks, swimming. But he is swimming. It's weird that he says that swimming is the thing he can't do now. And he has this image, there's a panel of him looking towards the ocean floor, and the next panel is all blacked out with what looks like a young Azuma spotlighted. I knew it. Actually, back then I also couldn't. And then he surfaces. Just what is my power? And he surfaces and finds Nubiko or Yubiko? The baddie that we met last time. I already forgot what her name starts with. Yubiko. He meets Yubiko, who tells him, one second, let me get back there. Looks real refreshing. Is it you? And Azuma just has no idea who this person is. Huh? What? The one called the Beast of Foresight. To be continued. So she's on the island, but there's something going on with her head. I'm not sure what that is, but it's clearly, whatever that thing is clearly not there at the top panel of 27. And is there on 28. So, I got no clue. I don't fucking know what is going on with this woman. But it ain't looking good for Azuma. The enemy has found him. But I want to take a moment to pause on the Beast of Foresight line. Because a lot of Azuma's wondering is, like, what are his powers? And, I don't know, Foresight, like, seeing the future, while also being a kind of beast Choujin is what that sort of implies, but I don't know what about Azuma has to do with future sight. You know, his power so far is talking to the hyena, and the whole thing with the cloth and the shackles and the making blades from it. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure how that ties into anything. Maybe she's wrong. Maybe she's looking for Tokio, and Tokio's his beast of foresight. I'm not sure what foresight has to do with his abilities, but still, he is a known beast. I'm not sure. I really don't know. But anyway, let's talk this chapter, because it's largely a training arc, or a training chapter. It's not really a whole arc to train. You know, we see the gang get slowly better with their abilities, for that week. There's a bit of, I guess you can call it comedy with Hachimaki, and some funnier gags with Ellie. Ellie's always a good time. But they're starting to get a handle on their abilities, especially Tokio and Azuma, who are able to do partial beastification and the knife generation that they were working on, which is like good work for them. Though the question of what exactly are Azuma's powers still looms large over him and Sato. But Sato's gone, which is always a relief because I fucking hate that man. And then we get some sort of like, you know, a small bit of bonding time as everyone sort of talks about why they want to be keepers. Which again, given my suspicion, my lack of trust in the sort of keeper worldview, is an interesting little thing to hear. And then we get some Simon backstory, which is really where like Ishida was hiding his really, really good imagery. Like the 2 pages, 19 and 20, with a double-headed Noh Masked and like the rain of Noh Masks. That's some good shit. That's the kind of imagery I'm going to be coming back to until the next chapter. Like, that just looks good. And also, sort of sets up, like, it sort of does a lot to explain why Simon is so dead set on, like, keeperdom and the sort of protecting of that sort of, like, traditional view of goodness that the keepers kind of represent. Because, you know, his family worked with the founder of Yamato Mori, and his family was also kind of killed for that. All of which feels relevant to the themes that I think Ishida is going to be getting at here. Though the exact meaning behind all of it we haven't quite worked out yet. There still is plenty of time for Ishida to start like making all of this clear, because I don't know. I'm trying to like work out what I'm trying to put into words what I think Ishida's doing with Simon. And I find that I kind of can't. Like, there's definitely something going on here. And it's on the tip of my tongue. I've been trying to put it into words all video, and I'm just sort of failing completely there. So that's always fun. But I really do like the sort of it feels very important that we get this distinction between Simon and Tokio's worldviews. Especially all the little hints that Tokio is just not cut out for being a keeper, and that's probably for the best. That, and all of the things about, like, why someone like Simon would go for the very black and white worldview represented by Sandek and Yamato Mori, all of this feels very relevant. All of this feels like it's building up towards something, though we don't quite know what. You know, generally that, like, that black and white morality doesn't quite cover reality, it seems to be the largest point that Ishida is getting at. But we haven't quite gotten to how Simon in particular fits that view, in the same way like Shiozaki so clearly fit that view. But for now, a member of the enemy is here. Yubiko is here, hunting down the Beast of Foresight, which is either Azuma or Tokio. Either way, I'm a little skeptical Azuma's going to be ready for this fight. I don't know. And I still don't know what the fuck is on her head in that last panel, because it's definitely something. Her powers seem to be strangulation-based, what we saw last chapter, but I just don't know what her deal is there. So that's one of those things we're just going to have to end up waiting and seeing. All in all, really fun chapter. You know, that slow build towards both the action to come and the sort of thematic work building the series. Really fun to see. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!